I'm Jacob Whitmer, lawyer who must assassinate the quartermaster and station AI. Start off by playing chicken with the tram, and I lose as usual. Another crew member makes small talk, and I test the waters out using my code word. He doesn't respond, though. I decide that the quartermaster might be the easier of the two targets. Therefore, I look around the cargo area to see if he's home. He doesn't seem to be, so now I must think further. So what does it take to kill the station AI? Well, first you need to get onto the AI satellite. Use X4 to breach the walls. Use EMP grenades. Use more X4. More EMP. And then you're basically in. Plan should cost between 10 and 14 telecrystals. I change into my spacesuit in a departures hall locker. The plan seems simple enough in theory as I head out of the airlocks. I sneak through the shady areas of the space station exterior. I spawn my EMP kit in the shadows. Then I climb across the transport tubes to the AI satellite. I slip and slide across space, and the implications of this will become more apparent. I plant the X4 charge and scoot off to safety. 3, 2, 1, boom. This layout seems different. I set some more X4. I need to get a better idea of this layout. Another turret is actually in the location where I expect it to be. I assess the situation carefully, verify I'm not being attacked directly before throwing the EMP grenade. Very effective. Plant another X4 charge in the center to clear my way. The interior is very dark due to the EMP grenade. I plant another X4 charge to get into the core. And after turning on my PDA light, I realize that this is not the core. This is not where I need to be. While trying to get my bearings, I run into my dear old friend, Officer Pinsky. It immediately pursues me and I try to escape. To no avail. But I do have an EMP implant which I employ at that point. It takes me a little while to recover from the shock. I still am confused why the AI core isn't where it should be. But then the realization slowly dawns on me that I'm on the first floor of the AI satellite. I need to get upstairs. I plant some more X4 to get my way to the staircase. Pinsky just then reawakens and attacks me. Once again, I EMP Pinsky, but he still shocked me down. I give Pinsky a retirement package just when the captain shows up. Unfortunately, Pinsky is determined to drag me to hell with it. And that's how my round ends, with the bang of an X4 charge delivered by Securabot, and the whimper of a few ghosts around me telling me I had a good try. Can't say that the player base isn't supportive. Anyway, I fell down a floor and that's the reason for the confusion. I therefore need to revise this strategy. X4 should be placed at the stairwell section. This works regardless of whether you're on the first floor or the second floor. At that point, you just need to use slight modifications to the location of your X4 charges and your EMPs, and you're still basically in just the same.
Welcome to the station.
Well, it's a new shift. I'm still Jacob Whitmer, and I'm still a lawyer, and I'm also still a traitor. I have a coworker next to me, so I decide to test the waters by saying some code words. To my surprise, it turns out he's another traitor. This will be interesting. We exchange information on our objectives. His objective is the AI and the captain's medal, and my objectives are to kill the captain as well as the chaplain. I suggest we kill the AI first, and then the captain, and then the chaplain. Work our ways down from the top. My fellow conspirator seems friendly to the idea of using the explosives, so I consult my map again. Helios Station appears to be slightly easier to breach than Tram Station. The grill can be taken care of with a C4 charge instead of X4. We exit from departures into the vacuum of space. We cross the bridge from the station to the AI satellite. I do admit I'm not very coordinated at spacewalking. We are soon in position. I plant the C4 charge. And after waiting for the C4 to explode, I requisition the pack of X4, and then move through the breached grill. Unfortunately, for some reason, the stationary metal rods embed themselves into my legs, a most painful experience. I set the X4 to the exterior reinforced wall and then move to cover. It is at this point that the rods finally fall out of my legs. The explosive detonates and then I move in to survey the damage. I throw in another EMP grenade to take out the turrets. The AI managed to cry out for help while we were moving in, but all in all it is a pretty easy operation. In fact, there was really only one small hitch, which was the lack of coordination between me and my partner. This lack of communication resulted in me planting another X4 charge on the opposite side of the wall from which he was, putting him in grave danger. I gave him a quick warning and then ran for cover myself. I creep back in to see what's going on with my partner. Turns out he's fine, just a little bit deaf from the explosion I put him through. I then set another X4 charge to finish off the AI, and then I try to drag my partner back to safety, but he also gets the idea and starts crawling too. I move back in and verify that the AI is now dead. We now have the matter of unscrewing the AI from its core emplacement. I have to summon a wrench via a syndicate toolbox to do this, because we didn't really prepare too well. I'm not really sure how to properly dispose of an AI core, to be honest. I ditched my space helmet in the trash chute. Probably not the wisest decision, to be honest. Me and my accomplice get separated when I stop by the chapel to see if the chaplain is home. He's not, so I go back outside to the central hallway. As I pass by the canteen, a security guard and a mime jump out and start chasing after me. This isn't going to end well. I drop my armed mini-bomb just as I get tased. The security guard is smart enough to get away. The mime realized it fucked up. When I come to, I'm being dragged back to the brig by the security officer. I'm then stuck in an interrogation room with a detective who takes his job way too seriously, and he beats me down. He asks me why I have all this syndicate gear when the reason ought to be obvious, and I ask for my lawyer, but he tells me I can't get one. He starts spurging out over the fact that I also have gloves, but the other security officer comes in and informs him that they know that Abe Workman is in cahoots with me due to the PDA. Also, our fingerprints were everywhere because we didn't wear gloves. Probably should wear gloves next time. The detective keeps doing his hard-boiled cop routine while I basically tell him everything that he needs to know, which is, I'm a syndicate. He starts emphasizing that they're going to execute me, so I start lawyering up and asking for the specific code. I figure at least it'll force the other player to look up the wiki page. Just then, a security officer brings in 2 dead bodies, one of which belongs to Abe Workman. So now I know that my accomplice is dead. I don't know how. Me and the detective continue our legal standoff, and I seem to be losing. So at this point I realize my online law degree isn't really all it's cracked up to be. Did I even pass the space bar exam?
High levels of radiation
Just then the
detected
space
station.
radiation alarm
Please
goes
report
off,
to
which
the
means
med
that all the crew have to go
exchange.
into maintenance or they get exposed to the radiation. This isn't really an enjoyable experience for either me or the security to get dragged in there. It does, however, provide me with an opportunity to slip my cuffs. I take off down the maintenance corridor, but I'm not very fast and they start catching up to me. I set off an EMP pulse to try to delay them getting their stun batons for me, and I give them a slip a couple of times, but eventually I'm taken out, and then I'm back in custody. I get stunned and pepper sprayed. True police brutality of a syndicate infiltrator. Not really cool in my opinion. I mean, all I did was kill an AI and a mime. I'm not even sure either of them qualify as living things, so I don't see what the big deal is. I'm getting patched up when the captain arrives, but his speech is all fucked up like he's verbally dyslexic or something. I try to speak his language. My attempts at being the Captain Whisperer go unrewarded, and I'm left alone in the brig until the warden shows up with his pet dog. He starts using the dog as a prop to try to insult me, but then I get pretty close, and closer and closer and closer to slipping my cuffs, until finally, I get free, get my chance at freedom. He pushes me down, but I just barely get over the table, and then I go across the room, get my hands on the C4, before he finally flashes me to the ground. He stuns me again, and then gets me buckled up to the chair just in time for the detective. I complain a bit, and then I finally get my audience with the captain. I get confirmation that they're attempting to revive my accomplice. It went a little bit slowly due to the radiation. Finally, I just tell the captain my objectives, which were to kill him and the chaplain. He also informs me that the AI was recovered, but still being worked on, so obviously I need to work on getting rid of the AI core after destroying it. According to server rules, the captain is the one who decides what to do with the prisoners, and his decision must be made. He decides not to kill me, instead just bring me on the shuttle. However, security is kind of, at the mercy of its own procedures, and I'm supposed to be put into a uniform along with the shoes before I can get onto the shuttle. The detective is even willing to risk asphyxiation to get me my shoes, which I think is a little bit over the top, and I tell him he's a dummy for doing so. Nonetheless, we manage to escape alive. However, the detective next takes me to a holding cell, because now the supermatter engine is about to delaminate, and he has to put me into a locker to prevent us from hallucinating after the explosion. And there it goes. He takes me out of the locker and declares it's time to run to the emergency shuttle. However, at this point, I don't believe we have enough time to make it there before it departs. This is confirmed when the detective starts cursing in Cyrillic, and the AI, of course, is dead thanks to yours truly, so we don't have the way to get into the teleporter room. And I suppose that makes it therefore poetic justice when I'm in the brig at Round End and then he proceeds to beat me to death. Police brutality. Cuffed and nightstick to death. That's how the round ends.